Hey,
How are ya?
ask me what I did last night.
What'd you do last night?
I'm going to surprise you. Last night was the 80th birthday party of Falcon Lumber.
Oh,
If you're
wow.
listening, that's my husband's company. He's been
Yeah,
around 80 years. It was epically fun. It was at the Toronto Hunt Club. Have you ever been there?
I haven't.
It's in the Scarborough Bluffs. So it looks over Lake Ontario, but you just feel like you're looking at the ocean. It's spectacular. And, they do this fun ceremony where have you ever seen where someone takes like a sword or a saber and they slice the top off a champagne bottle?
In like movies, yeah, I don't think I've seen that in
That
person.
was not in real life. It was so cool. It was just so, so cool. And the other cool thing is they had 5 generations in the room of people who have worked at Falcon Lumber.
Oh,
It's just
wow.
like, oh my God, it was the sweetest thing ever. The original founder of the company was 1945. His grandson just started working for them a couple of years
Oh,
ago.
really?
How cool is that? And his daughter, the founder's daughter, was there. And then our family, and now our son Cooper works there, which is just
Sure.
really super cool. And then the other family, Carl Seeger, he's his dad, his passed away, of course, but his 2 daughters. And then they have this pine mill, and there's 5 generations of the pine mill, which they have worked with for
Yeah.
as partners. Anyway, that's why I look like this. That's why I'm tired. That's why my voice is hoarse
We
because,
thought
oh,
yeah, we thought 20 years of business of design was a milestone. 80 years. Congratulations. That's amazing.
I know how long of an arm do you have to pat yourself on the back for that? Like it's just kind of it's incredible. I just can't even imagine. It was so beautiful. And my children's nanny, I had a nanny when the kids were little who was she was amazing. She just did like tons of houseworks, so I could be with the
Yeah.
kids sort of thing. She's when she was our nanny for several years, and then when it was we didn't need a nanny anymore, she started working at Falcon Lumber, so she was there. It
Good. Keep her
was
in the
so
family. Yeah.
yeah, so Cooper goes to work with his nanny. That's what I say, you still work with your nanny. You're such a big suck. Anyway, hi everybody, this is Business of Design. I just had to catch Cheryl up because we're on, YouTube, and I wanted to make sure everybody knows why I look like this, but actually I've looked worse. And on YouTube, way worse. So who cares? We're not even
No.
talking about this. What are we talking about today, Miss Cheryl? What's going on?
Well, we're kind of in like money mode at BOD. So I thought we'd sort of,
What?
bring some of that to the
Money?
podcast. We've just
We
launched
do
a
like money.
Yeah, yeah, and we do talk about it a lot within membership. But right now we're sort of taking it a step further, and we've launched a 6-week financial intensive, which you can register for now. It kickstarts
Woo.
in October, and it's it's all we've been talking about lately as we plan for this. We're really excited. It's been a long, time in
Yeah.
the works.
Well,
But I
it's
think it's
kind of a
really
5-year process, right? Of like the business of design, the boss groups,
yeah,
them working with our CFO, the business of
right.
design CFO, combing through uh, their profit and loss statements and being able to go like, oh, I see the problem. Here's the
Yeah,
problem for you, designer A, and here's a totally different problem for you, designer B. And that process was just so invaluable for people to not only learn what they were doing, what they might have been doing better, but
yeah,
what other people were doing really well and then going for that. Anyway, yeah,
yeah,
so it
and
has
also
been a
like
long process.
yeah, and all the patterns that we see working with individual members, that so many of these things need to be sort of transformed across the industry, across our membership.
Oh
There's
gosh, yeah.
similarities that need to
Preach.
start changing. Yeah, for sure.
Honestly,
But
yeah. If you want to be in business in 80
yeah,
years like Falcon Lumber, listen up, people. You're going to have to do some serious like self-analysis and
yeah.
make some changes. And some of those changes might be uncomfortable. But anyway, the 6-week intensive has put us in money mode for sure.
Yeah, but it's really about getting clarity around your numbers, feeling more confident with your numbers, and really feeling in control of what's next in your business because you're making decisions based on what's really happening as opposed to gut feelings, which I think, too many of us do. But we
Oh,
want
girl,
you to,
you were looking at me. You were looking at me when you said
well,
that.
once
I used
upon
to
a
make,
time.
yeah, I know. I know. It's tragic. Cheryl's like, really? You just like woke up and thought that was a good idea? But
But we,
I thought my gut instinct was giving me accurate information, but it was just giving me information, nothing, no accuracy. Just
and if it was accurate, it was by luck, right? As
yeah,
opposed to,
true.
being data backed. But, um, I know so many of our listeners or members that I, do deeper dives with might not feel ready to do this, but it's more just a willingness. We're going to start where you are. We're not going to make the assumptions that you should already know this or that key terms are just, something that's part of your um, day-to-day thinking, right? We really
Yeah.
want to start where our members are, come willing to ask questions and, be open about your finances because it surprisingly, this is not, you're not alone in that if you're not comfortable with the numbers yet, emphasizing
Yeah.
yet, want to get you there.
Yes, we haven't mastered it yet.
Yeah.
But guaranteed in 6 weeks, you're going to feel like you own this stuff. It's really not that hard. I remember being terrified. And it's once I figured out how to do it, I'm like, are you kidding me? That's what I've been hiding from? That?
Yeah. And once
Really
you
not
have
that hard.
yeah. And once you've got clarity around those numbers, it's a game changer. I've spoken with so many members who implemented one thing or learned one thing, and it was just sort of they changed something in their business because that one thing that they learned, and it was game changing. It's like to
Yeah, for
see,
sure.
to increase a profit margin or um, to just change what you're charging for consultations and see a huge change in your bottom line because of that. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
it's eye-opening and it sort of gets the ball rolling and you'll actually get excited to look at your your numbers once you can read them properly. And that's certainly what we
I
want to do.
do. Most months I do. Some,
Yeah.
there have been a few months in the history of my company that I've been like, eek, what's going on? But there's usually an explanation for that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But we're going to go through it all together, how you're charging, how you're making money, how you're spending money, and how you can start keeping more of what you're earning.
Yeah. Just a really simple way to keep track of everything, to know what the numbers mean. And then, really, probably the most important thing is to begin to manipulate the numbers, to be the person pushing and controlling the numbers rather than just letting the world happen to you. Like,
Yeah.
actually have some agency and ownership around it, which I think is the most empowering part. So
Yeah.
that is our 6 week intensive that's coming out.
Yeah. So before we jump into sort of like some takeaways for today, because I want, everyone to start taking action today, just to sort of get into the logistics, the 6 week financial intensive is going to kickstart on October 16th. It's going to run for 6 consecutive Thursdays. Following each session, you're going to have homework that you're going to report back to us on the following week. We really want to see you implement change between week 1 and week 6.
Oh, yeah.
And then, of course, you're going to be part of a group that will stay connected and accountable for changes you continue to make after the program ends.
Yes. So don't be scared. Bite-sized assignments that
Yep.
you'll be able to do and get done and click off your to-do list and will be meaningful and have an impact. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've already been building those exercises. So they're not scary, but they are vitally important. Yeah.
Yeah. So I just thought for today we could sort of jump into like a few things that you can kind of do right now, not even necessarily as preparation, just to start thinking about it. And I thought I'd start simple. And one of the things that I talk to designers about, especially when they're like new to business of design, is to get used to saying your hourly rate out loud. I know you've talked about confidence with saying that when
Yeah.
you're at like a dinner party that like a lawyer wouldn't stumble over how much they charge per hour. But if you think about it, that's literally the smallest number that you are ever going to have to say to a client, right?
That's so true.
Yeah. Once you get into your flat fee, your retainer, asking for a deposit at the presentation,
It's a
if
really
those
good
numbers
point.
scare you, like start with your hourly rate, say it out loud as you're, walking the dog or in front of a
Yeah.
mirror. Just like that should roll off your tongue with confidence, because that also portrays to the client that you know you're worth that, and it starts building trust and sort of open communication right from the
Yeah.
start. But it really is the smallest number you're going to ever have to say. So be
That's such a good
comfortable
point. I
saying
never
it.
thought of that ever. I
Yeah.
never, ever thought of that. Yeah. If you can't say your hourly fee, if that makes you nervous, how are you
Yeah.
going to ask for the retainer you need? How are you going to ask for $12,000 for the chandelier
Yeah.
in the dining room? Like, you're just not going to ever be able to be comfortable.
Yeah.
So
And in
it's so
terms of
true.
like an elevator pitch or things like that, there's no other number that you can sort of ballpark if you start casually talking to somebody about their project or things like that. There's nothing else that you can really give them in terms of those increments of time. So
Yeah.
that's sort of your starting point. So
Yeah.
get comfortable saying your hourly fee.
A consultation fee might be another one, right? Like,
Yep.
it's 1,200 for a consultation. It's
Yeah.
2 hours, and
Yeah.
call the
There you go.
office and get it set up or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's another good one. Cause again, that's the first thing that you want them to sign up for. And that opens the door.
Yeah. Role playing really helps. Like, I had a business
Mhm.
coach, and I would just role play and say things, and I would, and you've seen this 1,000 times. We've gone to speaking events, and I'll say,
Yeah.
what are you charging right now? And they'll go like 125. And I'm
Question
like,
mark?
what was that? What? Can you imagine going to you need a neck lift or something? You need something really important that you really, really want. And you go to a plastic surgeon and you say, how much for the facelift? And they go,
Yeah.
3,000? I'd be
Yeah.
like, oh, I gotta go. I'm not
Yeah.
staying here. That's terrifying.
A lawyer, a
So
doctor, anyone else. Yeah. You don't
like,
want the question
honestly,
mark at the end.
you really don't. Or the hesitation or the discomfort or the annoying body language or any of it. So that is such a good point. It's the smallest number you'll ever have to say, and you better get comfortable with it. Just
Yeah.
get used to it.
Yeah. But the
I have to
consultation,
I have to
right?
admit, when somebody asks me what my hourly fee is, and it's 375, that I usually like to follow it up with the value that I bring. Like, I usually like to tell them like what they're
Back it
gonna
up.
get,
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's
Yeah.
that's another part. But just saying the
Well,
number is really
yeah, I
important.
think homework for you should be your working on your consultation fee. Cause I think you keep saying 1,200 and it's been 1,500 on your
Has it
website. Like
really?
yeah. I know you're not the one answering your phone and doing that intake
I'm
call,
not.
but practice saying my consultation fee is 1,500.
1,500. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for telling me that. I swear, I feel like
I'm
you've
gonna
told
give
me
you
that
homework.
before. I think
Yeah.
you've told me that before. Yeah. Okay.
I've corrected you at live events. I know that. Yeah.
Okay, I was at a party last night. I told you I was having a really fun night, and I don't know, whatever. I think there's like toothpaste on my shirt here. Anyway, sorry. Yeah,
That's
it was quite
okay.
a day. That's okay. Okay,
Okay.
okay, so
Next
practice
one.
that number. What's
Yeah.
another one?
Next up, and again, I'm starting simple and working my way up. But tracking your time. And I know we talked about this last time
Ugh.
we did a podcast. And if you're already doing that, that's amazing. But it's not just about billing for that time. Obviously, that's important, but it's also about understanding how you work. So if you're not meticulously, logging all of your time, start now. If you're already doing that, also block time to look at those log sheets, because you're going to start to see patterns. What tasks take the longest? What tasks do you always underestimate if you charge for a flat fee?
Mhm.
Do you have multiple design team members doing certain tasks? It's sort of the same task, but they take very different lengths of time doing it, or
Yeah.
one staff member is
Who's
built more than
who's
another.
doing this faster? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. You're going to
Who's
start to
just really
see
good at this?
those areas. So it's really important to start looking at those log sheets. And if you don't, if you're doing flat fees and you're not logging your hours, then your flat fees are really just guesses. You
Yeah.
need
We've
that
we've
information.
looked we've looked at too many profit and loss statements for designers who do flat fees and are not aware of what they're getting paid, and that is
Yeah,
the most tragic situation
yeah.
of all. But what you said, I just think for emphasis, when you say log all your hours, you mean literally log every
Yeah,
second you spend.
even
Forget
the
about that you're
non-billable.
gonna
Yeah,
log every second, every second, every second. log it, time it, get used to figuring out the truth. And then what happened for us, once I saw, oh my gosh, we're really spending, twice as much time as I thought we were spending. But it was a way also for us to begin to get more efficient and faster at our work because we saw like, okay, you
Yeah.
can't spend 7 hours selecting the baseboards and crown molding and
Yeah.
paneling details for our project. Like that's crazy. You can't
Yeah.
do it. So how are we approaching that particular task? Okay, I'm like flipping through Pinterest. I'm looking at magazines. No. This can't happen anymore. So now I'm going to give myself a time limit of 3 hours to pick the molding and trim and paneling and all that kind of stuff. 3 hours, that's it. Set a timer, get it done. And little by little, we were able to chip away and make such much faster decisions, better decisions,
Yeah.
and make our whole office more efficient. So there's 1,000 benefits to more meticulously tracking your
Yeah.
time, I
And
guess.
you also shared that when you switched from employees to contractors,
Yeah.
suddenly all the time became billable. And of course, like if you've got full-time
100%.
staff in an office, you can't get rid of all of the non-billable time. But I think it
Most,
goes to show
right?
that there's a definite reduction in certain tasks. Did that even need to be done? Or even
Yeah.
small increments of time that if you're really accounting for like your full 8-hour days and that's how many are on the log sheet, like were there small increments of time that weren't billed for that should have been?
Yeah.
Reanalyze the tasks and like ask yourself if it should have been, sometimes there's a little bit of paperwork or emails or, well, you did call that client and do this follow up and it
Yeah.
seemed minimal, but it
Yeah.
was like 3 or 4 5-minute increments throughout a day added up.
Yeah. If you're looking at your log sheet and you worked 8 hours, but you only log 4 hours, something's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good
Yeah.
point. Okay.
Um,
Yeah, I feel like, man, we've been talking about this forever, and it's
yeah.
amazing how reluctant people can be when it comes to just logging the hours. We're not
Yeah.
even saying build the clients for it yet. We're just saying just get in the habit of logging the hours meticulously. You just have to be mindful, be intentional, pay attention, just do it. That's a bare minimum that you've got to do, right?
Yeah. And I think another, with AI and all of that, like you can probably type a pretty basic description to make it like shorthand kind of thing as you're doing it, and then plug it into, I'm sure Harvest and Toggle and some of these like specific
Mhm.
time tracking tools that are out there can help you rewrite it so that your log sheets aren't even taking as long. Obviously you're
Yeah.
to make sure it's accurate of what you did, but you don't need to go
Yeah.
into detail, shorthand as you go so that it's, a quick process, but you're capturing it.
Yeah. Yeah. Good point.
The next one I was going to mention, because this is sort of, where we'll be diving deeper in the fall, is about separating your revenue streams.
Mm.
But in order to do that, you actually need to be charging for different revenue streams. And I'm surprised, I would say like more recently, even more so than years ago, I'm talking to more designers who have different revenue streams, but they're just calling their design fee something different during different phases of the project. I don't know if you
Yes, I know.
found
I
it common.
know. I've been hearing that too. Like, oh yeah, we charge project management fees. I'm like, oh, so over and above your design fees. No.
No.
Wait, what? How does that work? So what you're saying is actually something we learned from the boss groups that when we actually asked to see everyone's P&Ls,
Yeah.
and by the way, I don't look at the P&Ls. Cheryl doesn't look at the P&Ls. Our CFO looks at the P&Ls and they're all made anonymous. So we see the numbers, but we don't know who they're attached to. Anyway, when you looked at the P&Ls, it was so obvious that the revenue streams had been lumped together
Yeah.
or didn't exist.
And I
Didn't
would say,
exist. And that
yeah,
took some teasing out to figure
yeah.
out.
I would say the most common one, and I have heard designers refer to their procurement fees as like their design fees rather as procurement during like while they're doing the paperwork and things like that for procurement versus dealing with their discounts. But I'd say the most common one is that they refer to their design fees as project management fees after the presentation, that they just change
Meaning
the
that they're charging for the time that they
yeah,
spend dealing with the trades, but they don't have any markup in addition to that
right.
time that's also being
Yeah.
billed. Yeah. And we've talked about this a lot recently, that you can give yourself a salary and you might even make an okay living, but you can never generate wealth if you don't have a multi-tiered
Yeah.
business plan that includes
Yeah.
multiple revenue streams. So we're going to be
Yeah.
talking about all the ways in the course. We'll talk about the ways that you can manipulate and make each revenue stream more robust, all the
Mhm.
different ways that you can do that that are ethical, and you can still have
Necessary for the
integrity.
project. Yeah.
Necessary. Yeah. And you can have
Yeah.
integrity while you're getting paid. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Okay. Good
Yeah.
one. Good
And
one.
then being able to see them separately, you're actually going to start getting paid for all of the work you do without being completely burnt out at the end of the day, because there's
Yeah.
only so many hours in a day. You're going to be able to see what's
So many.
actually profitable,
Yeah.
and you're going to be able to make smarter decisions on your pricing and working towards higher discounts and all of those things that add to your bottom line, because you've got different revenue streams, different profit margins for each, and you're gonna be able to see that. And then we're going to talk about how incremental changes really make a big difference at the end of the
Oh
month,
my
at the end of
God.
the quarter, and at the end of the year.
1% can put $100,000 in your pocket. Like, come
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
There are ways to do this smarter, and you want to make sure that you're ready for that today.
Yeah.
Like, be ready today. Don't
Yeah.
don't delay your gratification.
Yeah.
There's a huge truck outside. I don't know if you can hear it, but they are dumping, looks like 29,000 pounds of mulch in my garden.
Oh,
I know,
yeah. Yeah.
exciting, huh?
I've
This
seen
is
that.
my life. Exciting stuff. It's because we're recording this. Oh, it's Friday. I was going to say we're recording this on the weekend. I guess I think of
Yeah,
Fridays
it's a
as weekends
Friday.
lately.
Yeah.
It's Friday. And the mulch, by the way, is that really dark brown stuff, not that, teak colored stuff. So I'm pretty
Yeah.
excited because I
Yeah.
don't like weeds and I really don't want to garden. Anyway, that's not anything to do with this.
Yeah, that's okay. We'll get off track. That's okay. I'm gonna bring it back though. Before I move on to the next one, I just want to mention, so if you're not, sort of as your homework, something I would love for you to do like today, if you're not charging for 3 different revenue streams within membership, the pricing model program outlines each one of them, exactly how to charge for them. Start
Yeah.
now and start recording them separately within your profit and loss right from the get-go. If you
Yeah.
think there's a better way to do it than how you're doing it now as well, check out that program. There's a lot of finance that we do talk about within membership, but it's great to work through a lot of this together, which is the plan for the fall. The next one is a big one because this applies to way too many of our members when they start with us. Salary is not profit,
Oh, yeah.
right? Like
I thought
you're,
it was. It just, if you
yeah,
feel bad, I did think when people would say, "Do you take a salary?" Like, yeah, I
yeah,
do. Like, no, I didn't.
yeah.
No,
Your
I actually
salary
didn't.
is a business expense,
Yeah.
just, like rent, like any other employee who works for your company, and
Yeah.
a contractor that you outsource to. If
You.
your staff are making regular income that they can depend on and you're not, that's a problem. And you
Yeah.
can't assess cash flow or, how much money you have to reinvest in the company at the end of the year if you're not
Right.
taking that out off the top.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that that's a big one for people. And it doesn't matter if you're taking it out weekly or monthly, quarterly, even,
Or
waiting
yeah.
till the end of the year. I know some designers do that as well, but it needs to be a set number. And it's worth sitting down with your accountant or bookkeeper or even your tax planner to figure out what number makes sense for you as well as your business.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's, strategic ways to figure out what that number
Yeah.
um, can be, but start
But
taking it out from
psychologically, yeah,
yeah,
and psychologically, it's important to know, to be aware that salary is, the bare minimum that you get paid for doing the job, and profit is everything else that's left over. And if there's not both of those things, something's wrong. Like, again, like you're not going to be in business 80 years if you're not both of those things. And I know some people are like, I don't want to be in business 20 years. Well, how about, or 80 years? How about 20 years super profitable? How's that
Yeah.
sound? Let's do
Yeah.
that. Let's just do that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So add
Good
that
one.
line item to your profit and loss now and treat
Yes.
it like an expense and really assess
Yeah.
like the value of what you bring to the table. How much would you need to pay somebody else to do the work that you do?
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, and then the final one, and I know you've talked about doing this too and how you kind of look forward to these meetings now, but um, financial check-ins right now,
Yeah.
go block your calendar and do monthly, quarterly, and annual check-ins with your bookkeeper, financial planner, or, tax planner. If you don't have one, it is absolutely worth investing
Yeah.
in even a few hours a month just to look at those numbers with you because their insights are invaluable. And at each of those points, you should be reviewing different things. I know we
Yeah.
already talked about monthly reviewing your log sheets, right? You want to be able to look at them month over month in comparison. And if you've got multiple projects on the go, it's really hard to do that assessment if you sit down and look at it after the course of a year or at the end of a
Ugh.
project that was a year and a half. You're missing
Yeah.
opportunities where you probably left money on the table. You
Yeah.
need to do the month over month comparison. If you've got multiple staff members working on different projects, it's really good to do it as well. It's fresh that you know what it is and you have opportunities to make changes while you might still be in that same phase of the
Oh my
project.
gosh. Yeah, you can impact the outcome if you're
Yeah.
looking regularly. You can't impact the outcome if the project's over. So
Yeah.
it's like I was the queen of when it's all over, I'm going
Mhm.
to really take time to understand what's happening. I mean,
Yeah.
for a decade, I bled money, and it's just not as much fun as making money. So
Yeah.
yeah,
But
that's a
little
really,
meetings like that,
really
I
good
mean, a
point.
half an hour a month. I mean, the
Ugh,
the
15
small
minutes. It's not,
the small changes that you can make that really do add up month over month, project over project at the end of the year. It's big money on the table. And we've seen too many designers have really awful aha moments when
uh,
they start looking at that and it's been a significant amount of time. Like you can't
yeah.
go back and get that money, right? It's once it's gone, it's gone. But if you catch it in the
I wish you
process,
could. That would be
change
great.
it. Yeah. Yeah. Uh, Quarterly, I would suggest if there are projects that have ended within those last 3 months, look at them individually. If you're not set up to review projects on an individual basis, that's definitely something that we're going to talk about um,
Yeah, you will
in the
be.
fall. But it's certainly something that you want to know which projects are the most profitable. How did a project go? Just is that more of what you want to target in the future? But again, rather than at the
Yeah.
end of a financial year or calendar year, looking at individual projects while it's still fresh, it just wrapped up, doing that analysis. And then, of course,
Yeah.
annually, you're going to kind of look at the big picture. How did things go in the previous year and projections for the following year, changes, red flags, set some goals on how you want to
You
improve.
know, these are just, of course, all of this is really important monthly, quarterly, annually. But the thing that we discovered is the way that they were keeping their books
Yeah.
was too complicated and didn't actually make reading the information easy. So
Yeah.
the very first thing we're going to do is show you how to set up your
Yeah.
P&L specifically. These are the
Yeah.
categories. This is what you do. Here's how you separate it. Here's why we separate these two things. And
Yeah.
here's what you can learn from seeing these individual line items. So once
Yeah.
you do that little bit of spicy homework, um, forever for life, it couldn't be easier. It couldn't be simpler. So
Yeah.
you
And I
can,
think yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
no, I was going to say, you just, no matter where you are, you can make this better, immediately, if
Yeah. And
not
once you
sooner.
know what
So
you're looking for, it'll
yeah,
jump out at you. Like you get used to it. And again, like we've done this
yeah,
with so many members now, where once you understand it and see it, like you actually look forward to it because you're making
yeah,
changes that you can actually see numbers change. And that's
I
like
like
when
that.
you can actually measure results.
Yeah,
The numbers are where you're seeing that at the end of the day. So it gets kind of exciting to look at.
it does. It absolutely does. Okay, so October 15th
16.
for 6 weeks. Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
don't listen to me. Let's do
Let
it
me do
again.
it.
October.
Let me do it. Let me do it. October 16th. And it's going to be 6 consecutive Thursdays. Details are on the website with a weekly breakdown, what you can expect. There will be homework set aside a time for it. And of course, we'll do sort of office hours in between. I'll be accessible. If you have any questions about the, financial courses within membership or joining us for the 6-week intensive, by all means, reach out to me, Cheryl at businessofdesign.com. However it is you want to learn and make changes, we're here to support.
Yeah.
And it's exciting for us to see the changes when we get to do check-ins after we know a member's worked through a course or done a program like this.
We do
We
like
get
that.
excited about your success.
And it's more than just Cheryl and myself who will be part of this. Our CFO will be part of it. You'll be working directly with him and some other guests as well. So anyway, Cheryl, so good to see you. Thank you for
You
putting up
too.
with my monkey brain today. I think I need to go
But
work out and wake up or something.
yeah,
I don't know.
hopefully by the end of the weekend, you're going to have like a beautiful garden out there.
Does it happen
Be
that
all done
fast?
for you. I don't know. I don't know.
I
It's
hope
just mulch right
so.
now. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
No, we've got flowers and stuff, but
Yeah.
I just, gardening is hard,
It
really
is.
hard work. I
Yeah.
cannot, anyway, sorry you didn't tune in to talk about gardening, but we're really glad you did tune in and join us for the 6-week financial intensive
Yeah.
and
Love to have
make
you.
those changes Cheryl talked about today. Thank you. Good to see you.
Bye.
All right.